Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm back with another ranking, and this time it is the John Wick movies. But first and foremost, I wish you all a happy new year, because if I keep to my upload schedule, this video is going to be released in 2024. Now, I'm still all the way back in 2023, so you guys know more about the future than I do. Congratulations. But for right now, I'm going to do the ranking thing. Yes. I might have mentioned it before, but I'm doing a ranking of John Wick, or the John Wick movies. And I'm a big fan of this franchise. A huge fan of it, really. It's like Mission Impossible up there with me, as like one of the best movie franchises, in my opinion, of course. Spoiler alert, I don't dislike any of these movies. They're all great. I mean, they're John Wick movies. Even my least favorite of these four, I still really like and would watch right now. So, it's going to be a very positive review. But, starting off the new year with positives. Because, positivity, yeah. But, seriously, I'm stalling right now, so let's just get right into it. In at last place, which is still better than a lot of movies, I have John Wick Chapter 2. This was pretty easily my least favorite, and that's not because it's it's not bad or anything, but each of the three above this, I have something very, I just really enjoy it. Whereas this one, it's a good movie, but I'm not quite as interested in going back to this movie as I am with three above it. So here it is. It stands here. This movie is notable for introducing a lot of the lore into the franchise. You got markers. There's more about the Continental. Of course, that was introduced in the first movie, but you get more of it here and more about this assassin underworld. And right off the bat, it starts off right after the first movie, where he's getting his car back, and then quickly after, then this guy is like, oh yeah, you need to fulfill this marker, all right, which is this thing where basically, if you put your fingerprint on it, and with your blood and all that, then you owe someone. So yeah, so he basically is in debt to this person. So well, at first he refuses, but then his house is so brutally blown up. So anyway, he carries out the plan, and things get crazy along the way, of course. There's this excellent scene, the iconic one where he's killing people with a pencil. It's a good movie. It's great. It has its really good moments. I just think that when stacked up against the other ones, it just it doesn't have as much to elevate it to that level as the other three do. And of course it does have that one really memorable scene I love, but then the other action scenes aren't quite as memorable. So overall, it's still a good movie, but it is the worst out of the John Wick movies. Next up, we have John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum. I'm not sure what that last part has to do with anything. I don't know why they added that onto there. It would have been fine as just being John Wick Chapter 3, but they added it there anyway, and you know what? Screw it. Who cares? So, John Wick Chapter 3. It's a good movie. I really enjoyed this movie. Especially when I watched it in theaters, it was really good. But still, I still really like this movie. One thing that stands out about this movie is just how memorable it is. It's one of those movies you can remember a lot from after watching it. At least that was what I felt like about this movie. You got the opening scene, which is excellent, where basically at the end of the second movie, what happens is basically everyone in the assassin world is after him. So now he is on the run in the middle of New York City, and it's crazy. The action's great. Right off the bat, I think that scene alone is better than the John Wick Chapter 2's great action scene. And that's just the opening act. And then the final act is amazing, man. This thing, you got it's so long, but there's so much there. So many different kinds of fighting techniques in areas, and it is one of the greatest third acts of all time. The reason I have this at number 3 and not any higher is because the second act it doesn't quite hold up as well as the first and the third acts. I feel like here, they're in the desert, they're walking, and there's some action scenes, and he meets a old friend, I guess. I don't know, but it's just the second act. Kind of, you're just, when you're watching it, or at least rewatching it or whatever, you're kind of just waiting for that epic finale, and so that's what brings it down. But honestly, other than that, I mean, even that part, it still has good moments. So still a good movie, but that's where I stand on it. Alright, coming in at second place, we have John Wick. This movie was just started this whole big John Wick mythos, really. It was kind of, if you watch it, you'll realize it's like they weren't expecting this exactly to be as popular as it was. It had some good action scenes, of course. I think they did a really great job. However, you can definitely tell it was a bit lower budget than some of the more recent ones, but then it just blossomed into this great franchise. But I think this movie still really holds up. You've got, of course, the basic premise. Everyone knows it. John Wick, his dog is killed and his car is stolen, so he goes and kills a bunch of people. I mean, of course, there's more layers to it than that. But just that premise alone, it's the quintessential revenge thriller right there. And the action sequences themselves are great. The characters are great. I think the villain, and like whether it's Yosef or his father, and just like, especially the scene when the main bad guy is talking to his son about John Wick, calling him the Baba Yaga. It's pretty crazy. It just really builds up tension and or builds up what John Wick as a character is. Like, when we're first seeing him, he's just kind of living in the house, with the dog. His wife just passed away, and that now we're learning, oh crap, this guy was like top dog assassin. You learn more about him through other characters' dialogue, which is pretty cool. But yeah, and then there's just great secondary characters. Like Willem Dafoe's in this. He's playing one of John Wick's friends, allies, I guess you could say. And Willem Dafoe is Willem Dafoe. So I mean, there's really nothing else I can say about that. I mean, that speaks for itself. But then you also got, on the bad guy side, kind of one of the bad guy's main henchmen is the guy from the Allstate commercials. That's pretty cool. I think everyone really gives it their all, despite this being on the not as ambitious as some of the later entries. And it's just an excellent movie, an excellent start. Here we are, number one. I know you had to wait a long time to get to this point. This is a very, very lengthy video, as you can tell by these 4 entries. We have John Wick Chapter 4. Now, for the 5 of you who actually watch this channel, I actually did make a John Wick 4 review back in some time in the past. It was like one of my last videos before I decided to go on hibernation. But yes, as if you watched that review, you know I was very positive on it, and I still am very positive on it. Nothing has changed. I still love it just as much. It is excellent. I guess I'll go and repeat some of the things I said there. The set pieces are great. Of course, you got Osaka, Berlin, and then Paris. At each of these places, there's a phenomenal fight scene. All the fight scenes here are amazing. It's the John Wick franchise. It's to be expected. But then, of course, maybe my favorite scene in anything, really, of the year. And this is a year of strong contenders, mind you. But my favorite, I think, has to be the top-down scene where John Wick has a Dragon's Breath shotgun. And it's just taking out peeps. And again, it's top-down. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. It is one of the most memorable, professionally filmed action scenes I think I've ever seen. And probably still my favorite of the year, even though, again, there are some really close contenders, because it's just been a great year for good action. I mean, there's nothing, I can't say anything bad about this movie. I couldn't even find anything. The villain does a really good job. There's also Kane, who's just this really cool concept of like a blind assassin who's also still really good at what he does. Kane, great character, and also great motivations too. Like, the whole thing with him wanting to protect his daughter, it's great. Like, he's working with the bad guys for most of the most of the movie, but you can tell he doesn't want to. He's just doing it out of necessity, and you can tell he is a good person. And then, of course, you also have, I think he just went by Mr. Nobody, but he was the guy with the dog. He was a great character, too, like, just out of nowhere, just this character who was tracking down John Wick, but then teamed up with him at the end. And he also just is, like I said, he's an interesting character. And these are just the side characters. I haven't even gotten into more side characters. Like, on the good guy side, you've got John Wick's loyal friend back in Osaka. And then you also have, like, on the bad guy side, you have the guy in Berlin who's, like, a big nightclub owning mob boss. I don't know. He's killed, though, so, you know. But he's also was just a funny villain. So, really just all around, all across the board, John Wick 4, excellent movie. Well, there you have it. Hopefully you haven't passed out due to my crappy humor yet, and whatever excuse of a joke I have in store. I'm really not good at this humor thing yet, but maybe I'll get better. Who the frick knows? But seriously, this is one of my favorite franchises. 4 movies, all great movies. If you, for some reason, like action movies and haven't seen this franchise yet, seriously, I just say watch it. Whenever you can, set time, put it in a list or something. But you really should watch this franchise. Thank you all for watching. I wish you all the best in 2024. And until next time, see ya.